Richard Banfield, the CEO of Fresh Tilled Soil, is here with us today. So, Rich, who were your role models growing up?
Most of my role models were actually artists. I have no idea why artists in particular, but I think that I like the idea of being creative and expressive and being able to put what's going on in your head on paper or canvas or something like that.
So did you ever want to be an artist growing up?
I did. In fact, I think that's maybe why I'm attracted to design, is because there are overlaps, although design is more of a science than an art. There's still a lot of artistry in getting to a good design.
Now, was being an artist your original idea of what you would be when you grow up?
I think so. I had this conflicting idea that I would either be a world-famous artist or a world-famous scientist, which I know are on opposite ends of the spectrum, so I'm not quite sure what happened.
They mixed together to make computer design, right? And
pretty much
website design. So I think that worked out for you, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The technology and the interest in science and the art both came together. Mm-hmm.
Now, for your company and as you as a person also, you need to have strong core values, and a lot of companies are now adding this to their, pretty much daily procedures. So
Right.
what do you set for yourself and your company's employees?
So we went through a particularly deep process of understanding what our core values were, both at the beginning of the company and also at each step as we have grown. We've looked again at our core values and asked ourselves, are these things still valid? Are they still core to the business, or have they changed? And we were surprised to see that they've never changed. They've always been just as valuable and valid throughout the history of the company. Our core values tend to be focused around the community that we're a part of, so we're very, very connected and involved in the entrepreneurial community, those people that are starting businesses, growing businesses, even selling businesses. And so most of our core values are directed towards helping those people, being part of that community, and growing with some quiet confidence along the way.
Now, as a note on the topic of corporate responsibility and how you serve on the committees of TEDx Boston and BREW, Boston Regional Entrepreneurial Week, what do you do with that, and how do you serve on that board?
So I essentially have two roles. One is as an executive member. My ideas, my basic hard work, sweat is helping those events take place. So just being there, helping them get the things that they need, whether it's organizing speakers or helping at the event itself. And then in the second role, it's to bring that experience to the web. So I bring my company's skills and the people that work for me to those events where we build the websites prior to the event, several months, even years before the event actually takes place, and then maintain it and make sure that post-event as well, we get all the necessary content back into those websites.
And so if I have a really good idea, what do I do with that idea to put it into something or to make it happen?
Are you talking specifically about a website or a web business?
A website, yeah, any business idea that I have a plan for. What should I do with that idea?
So the best thing to do is get a piece of paper or a whiteboard and actually draw out what your idea is. Where people will come from, how they'll interact with you, where they'll spend money with you, how are you going to interact and keep a relationship with them. If it's a highly transactional business, relationships might not be as important to you. But if most businesses require some relationship, even if it is, like as you said, a social connection, some kind of maybe it's through a social website like Twitter or Facebook. Maybe it's maybe just basic email, depending on the kind of business. But drawing it out is the first step. And once you've drawn it out and you've understood where all those little pieces are and the pieces of the puzzle fit together, you can then start to plan out and think, well, how do I build that piece, and what experts do I need to talk to about making that actually happen?
And is that what you did with your company? Is that how you made Fresh Tilled Soil happen?
No, embarrassingly not. The business was entirely a mistake. I had been part of a startup, sold my shares in that business, and I was essentially unemployed. And a lot of people were coming to me knowing that I had skills in the web design, web business space, and said, hey, can you help me with this idea and that idea? And that consulting turned into a business. So Fresh Tilled Soil was a little bit more of a organic idea than a very specifically planned idea. But some of the other businesses that I'm involved in are very specifically planned to solve a need or a problem that exists in the community or the market.
And the name is definitely even very organic as it is Fresh Tilled Soil.
That's right.
Now, in the process of starting up Fresh Tilled Soil, what challenges did you go through, whether funding, capital, or just gathering employees?
So I had raised capital for previous businesses, and I chose not to for this business. I put a little bit of my own money in, and we've bootstrapped the business every day since then. We've never missed a payroll, we've never taken a loan, we have no debt, and I'm very proud of that. What it means is that we've grown a little slower because we haven't had massive amount of capital to invest in people and processes and marketing. But it's a very stable business, and it's a very honest business, and I like that part of it. That doesn't mean we're not raising money for other businesses that we're involved in, but for this particular business, we've decided to grow it organically and take it one step at a time. The challenges we faced, pretty much the same as all the challenges that you expect to face in business: finding the best people, firing the people that are not good. That's really hard. It's a tough process to go through. Finding clients. Amazing those clients with good work. Sometimes you don't always do that, and sometimes it's hard, and sometimes they even fire you. So it's all of the expected things, but to be prepared for them, I think, is maybe a mistake. You just have to be aware of the fact that they're going to happen, and just be agile enough to change as you go along.
Now, how did Microsoft, GE Healthcare, and the Ritz-Carlton Corporation find you, or how did they approach you?
Most of them, in fact, I would say all of the names that you've just mentioned there, have found us through relationships. So word of mouth, referrals. And we spend a lot of time in the community networking and talking to other businesses, making friends, because those are where the best clients come from, where the best opportunities come from, is from those connections.
Definitely. I think word of mouth is probably the best way to go because it's based on a recommendation from someone else.
Absolutely.
And that's the most valid.
Sure, and it's free.
So on more of a personal level, do you have a family?
Yes, I do.
And do you have children?
Yes, I have 2 sons.
How
A
old are
stepson who's 14, and my son Reese, who's here today, who's 8.
And so how do you balance work with family?
Well, it's hard. I think anybody who is an entrepreneur needs to spend a big chunk of their day working. You have to be very conscious of the fact that balance is important, not just for you, but for the people around you. Getting out and exercising, getting out from behind your desk is an important thing that I would recommend any entrepreneur does on a daily basis. Get up and walk around, go visit your clients, just get out from the building. I think that's one of the most important things in keeping a balanced mind. You get very myopic when you're sitting behind a laptop every day. And make sure that your children are involved, and take them to the office and let them understand what it is that you're doing, so that they can see how it's important to their lives and to your lives, and that it's not just this weird mystery that happens somewhere. And I think that's unfortunate with corporate businesses, and you're not always able to do that. You're not always able to include your children and show them how wonderful entrepreneurship can be. But just being conscious of it is the first step, understanding that you need to take time off, and in the winter go snowboarding or doing something like that, and in the summer, taking some breaks and getting to the beach.
It's great to hear that you're not all work and you both work hard and play hard, which is great to hear. And I know going to my father's business is always a fun adventure to see how his operations are, and mine is totally different, and he's a small business also, and I'm sure you're more of a medium size, right?
Sure. I think what's the kind of the work hard, play hard idea is important. But at the same time, you need to be truly passionate about your work so that it doesn't feel like work. If you love what you do and you're excited about what you do, it doesn't feel like work. So then work hard, play hard starts to blur and become the same thing. Working is playing.
Now, on a final note, where do you see yourself down the line in 5 years from now?
We have started another business called Super Web-O-Matic, aimed at small businesses, mom and pop, Main Street America businesses that need small websites. We spent the last almost 2 years working on a system that allows us to produce those websites very, very effectively and affordably, being the key word. And that business is going to be our core focus over the coming years. So we're going to grow that along with Fresh Tilled Soil. Fresh Tilled Soil is definitely on a huge growth spurt right now. But in 5 years' time, I also see myself being deeply involved in Super Webmatic.
Oh, that sounds great. Well, that is the bottom line. Thank you for coming in today, Richard.
Thank you.
Well, for my co-host Lane Sutton and our very special guest today, Richard Banfield, thank you for joining us. I'm Ellie Berger. See you next time on The Bottom Line.